The girl in the window. I never believed in ghosts. Not really. Stories, movies, they always seemed far away from reality. But sometimes life tests what we think is real. Last winter, I moved into this old house at the edge of town. Cheap rent, filled floors, creaky walls. Exactly what I needed to start. The house felt empty, silent in a way that made you listen to every sound. There was a narrow hallway, with peeling wallpaper and a small dusty window at the end, looking out to the backyard. I remember staring at that window, wondering about the life it had seen. One night, just after 2 a.m., walked down the hallway. That's when I saw a pale girl, about 10 years old, standing silently outside the window. She wore an old white nightgown. Her long dark hair fell over her shoulders. Her eyes were wide, dark, and unblinking. Her lips were bluish, as if the cold had frozen them. I felt frozen, heart pounding. I turned on the backyard light, but she vanished. At night, I tried to sleep, but my mind wouldn't rest. The image of that pale girl haunted me. Then, just before dawn, I heard a soft sound. I opened my eyes and saw her again, standing right outside the window, closer than before. Her breath clogged the glass, little clouds forming as she exhaled. But inside, the air was warm, so why was the window misted only from her side? Her eyes were full of sorrow, so deep, so sad, that it pierced my heart. She didn't speak or move, just stood there, silent and still. I wanted to look away, to pretend she wasn't there. But something kept me frozen in place, staring back at those haunting eyes. Time seemed to slow down, rather than fading. It felt like she was trying to tell me something urgent. But what? Night after night, the visits continued. Each time she got closer. It was like she was reaching out, slowly breaking the barrier between her world and mine. One night, I was standing at the end of the hallway, looking toward the window. Suddenly, she pressed her pale face against the glass, close enough that I could see every detail. Her skin was almost translucent, and her lips blue and cold. I gasped when I saw her eyes, empty but full of something I couldn't understand. And then something terrifying hit. She wasn't outside it. She was in the reflection. The glass showed her image, but it wasn't just a reflection. It was like a door opening into another place. After that, the house changed. Soft whispers echoed through the walls. Footsteps echoed in the hallway when no one was there. At times, I heard quiet crying, childlike, desperate, full of sadness. I felt a chill crawl up my spine every time I walked past that window. I realized I wasn't alone. Something was with me. Something that wanted me to see. Something that was trapped. One night, I was drawn to the window again. The glass was fogged from the cold air outside, and I saw something that made my blood run cold, small, childlike handprints pressed firmly from the inside. They were smudged, as if someone had tried to wipe them away, but they never fully disappeared. The lights began flickering wildly, casting long, eerie shadows that danced on the walls. The temperature in the hallway dropped suddenly, and I could see my breath in the air. I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate, echoing down the hallway toward me. I stood frozen, unable to move or speak. The crying grew louder, soft sobs that cut through the silence like a knife. The air felt heavy, charged with sorrow and anger. It was clear. This was not just a haunting. It was a plea, a desperate call from a lost soul trapped in time, begging to be remembered, to be freed. I knew then I couldn't stay. The house wasn't just haunted. It was alive with something I couldn't explain. Every creak, every whisper felt like it was closing in on me. I couldn't sleep. I barely ate. One night, after hearing those eerie footsteps again, I decided I had enough. I packed my bags slowly, trying not to make a sound. My hands trembled as I folded my clothes and shoved them into my suitcase. Before I left, I took one last look down the hallway. There she was, Emily. Her pale face was pressed against the window, a faint smile playing on her lips. But it wasn't a happy smile. It was one filled with sadness, longing, and maybe, just maybe, a plea for help. I swallowed the lump in my throat and walked out, never looking back. Once I was safe, I couldn't stop thinking about her. I searched online, in old newspapers, anything I could find about the house. That's when I found it. An article about a little girl named Emily who had vanished during the snowstorm 10 years ago. The house was a prison for Emily's spirit. And I was just a visitor, caught in her story. If you want me to extend other scenes or make it even more dramatic, just say. Her footprints had led right to that very window. Then nothing. The town whispered about how she was never found, how her spirit was said to roam the neighborhood, searching for someone to remember her. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. I realized Emily wasn't just a ghost. She was a lost soul, trapped between worlds, waiting for someone to see her, to acknowledge her pain. Even now, in my new home, when the night is quiet and the wind whispers through the trees, sometimes I look out my window, half expecting to see her standing there, waiting, watching, still searching. And I wonder, am I the only one who sees her? Revenge. They seek remembrance. Emily wasn't there to harm. She was there because she was forgotten. Lost between this world and the next, her presence was a cry for help, not fear. Sometimes what we call hauntings are really unanswered stories, unfinished endings, unheard voices. So next time you feel a presence in the dark, don't just be afraid. Ask what it's trying to tell you. Because the dead don't always want to scare us. Sometimes they just don't want to be alone.